Hey guys, I want to talk to you about dysphagia. Actually, my dysphagia. I do have trouble swallowing. There was a time in life years ago I didn't have trouble swallowing, and as I was eating at somebody's house or restaurant or wherever, they would ask me, "Do you want something to drink?" I said, "No, I don't need anything to drink." They say, "Don't you need something to push the food down?" I said, "No, I don't have that problem. The food's got water in it." And that was the truth back then. But then about 2 or 3 years ago, I started having trouble swallowing. And my food would get lodged in my throat. And then I'd drink some water and it would build up. Or the saliva in my glands would drip down on top of the food in my throat and build up. And it would give me that I got to throw up feeling. And I would. And I would continue to have this problem, that issue that day, until the food finally did throw up, and then I felt relief. After a few bad experiences, I decided to go to Google and study and learn about it and see what could be done about it, or if anything could be done about it. But then meanwhile, I would learn to cut my food up into smaller bite-sized pieces and try to chew it a lot more and before I'd swallow it. As I was studying about it, I learned there is a upper and a lower esophagus. And the esophagus kind of helps to push the food down into the stomach area and stop the stomach acids as it's processing the food, keeping that from coming back up your throat. So it shuts off like a little valve. And there's been times I've had some really super bad experiences with my dysphagia. And it would be sometimes hours before I would finally get the food back up because it's not going to go down. And I feel like I did chew it up well enough and swallowed it careful, but it still got stopped up. Then I went online and Googled see what I could do about it, because it was getting annoying, especially if you're visiting a friend and eating at their place and then your food gets stopped up. Well, they start looking at you like you're an alien or something, like what's wrong with you, and then they would really get concerned and worried about you maybe going to die. Well, I never did lose my breath to pass out. It's just uncomfortable feeling that your food won't go down. So as I was studying on Google, I noticed that they could send a balloon down through your esophagus to open up that bottom area. That it's a muscle that contracts to keep the food from coming back up out of your stomach. It keeps the acid from coming back up out of your stomach. That's what that muscle does. It closes off. And it's supposed to open up in order to let food go down. But then, and also they can go in there and they can cut that muscle to relieve it just a little bit, surgery. Or they can send a balloon down in there and expand the balloon to push that muscle out to help relieve it. But as I understand, it will or could come back. Dysphagia could come back. And meanwhile, as you have that surgery done, or the balloon thing, which is a surgery too, it's going to allow stomach acids to come up into your throat area. You're dealing with one thing or the other. So I continued on for the next year, making sure that I would process my food and cut it up. I would start off with drinking a few swallows of water, eating small bites, chewing very, very well, and carefully swallowing, and then drink some more water to push it down. And it seems like that kind of helped for a while, but there would be times that the least little thing, like tater chips, I mean, I'd get stopped up on tater chips, or I could get stopped up on a couple of cookies. I mean, after I done chewed it up and refined it, I'd still get stopped up. And I would drink some plain water, distilled water, and I would still, it would not unlodge it. So it seems like I was getting nowheres. So then I got to where I just processed my food more down into a pulp to where it would swallow easier. As I continue to study on Google and trying to learn how to take care of this, because, you know, if you can go out and eat at a restaurant and this happens, it makes it even hard to drive back to the house on as you're stopped up. You don't know when you're going to throw up, you know, and you don't want to throw up in your vehicle or on somebody, you know, because that's the only way you're going to relieve yourself. It has to come up. What don't go down has to come up. But I came across an article somewheres, and it wasn't very much information about drinking a Coke or something first before you eat, a carbonated drink. And I tried that, and it seemed like that did help a lot. And but I don't like to drink a lot of sodas, because you don't know what all they've got in them sodas. They've got stuff that just, to me, it's not healthy. I try to eat healthy. And so then what I came up with, and I haven't found much about it, and I wanted to share it, is carbonated water, CO2. And I started doing that about 3 months ago, and it was almost like magic for me, because now it pushes the food down. If a little bit of food, after I done grind it up, you know, as much as I can, not grind it up, but after I chewed it up as much as I can, and go to swallow it, if it gets lodged, I can drink some what they call soda water, sparkling water, carbonated water. I can drink a little bit of that through a straw, and it seems like it just pushes it down. And then I can go on and finish eating. So what I've learned to do is, before I eat, drink about 2 or 3 swallows of carbonated water. Actually, you'll feel yourself starting to belch a little bit. And it seems like when I get to that period of belching, then I know I can go ahead and take the first bite of food and chew it up real good and swallow it, and then drink another swallow of carbonated water. You end up almost filling yourself up with carbonated water by the time you finish your meal. But you get your meal down. And if a little bit does wedge in your throat, then just drink that carbonated water with a straw, and I find out that it pushes it down. It's almost like a magical treatment, because I don't want to go get surgery. I don't want to get the balloon done, because I don't want the acids coming back up into my throat area or my mouth, because they sting. It don't feel good. It feels yucky. You know, you got one problem or you got the other. So I think the carbonated water is what has really helped me out a lot. So far, that's what I'm going to continue on doing, and until either the soft, until it fixes itself, or whatever happens, you know. Okay, this is my water distiller, and that I have here at the house, which comes in handy because sometimes you go to the store and you can't find a gallon of distilled water, so I just make my own. This is hooked up to the water line, where when I turn on the timer, which I've had to move the timer over here, I had to put a new timer in. But when I turn that timer on, it will send power in here, and it will open up a valve to let the water in for it to start distilling, which I will go ahead and do now. Okay, once it distills it up here at the top, then it will drip it in a tube here going into this tank. This is a stainless steel tank, and I don't know how many gallons of reservoir this is, but then I can get my water. I drink it out of this jug. This jug here is probably 25 years old. I need to get a new jug probably, but this is still doing. And then I can just open this valve up, and that's distilled water going in. And when the jug gets up to about right here, I'm going to shut the valve off. Okay, and I put a piece of foam or something in here, not foam, but styrofoam, where it floats. That's the level of the water. This is the height of this tank here. Okay, once I've got my distilled water in the jug, then I set it just down in here. This is some PVC that I split and glued on to another PVC, which goes around this bottle here. Kind of help hold the jug while I'm working with it. Okay. And this is the applicator I use to put it in, the CO2 in the bottle. It's got another one here hooked up. This is for like a big container, like using for a beer keg or something. You can hook that onto the beer keg to send your beer up to the tap, but I'm not doing that today. But just to get CO2 into the jug, I hook this up. And what I do is I turn the bottle on. And as you can see, it's registering right here. And then I got to turn this valve here on. This is the valve that goes to the one I showed you. The other one goes to the big valve, to the big connection. That one goes to this one. Okay, I don't know if you heard that, but it just aired up pretty good. And then I take this here, which is just a regular bottle cap that I drilled a hole through and put a tire thing on. The not tire chuck, but the tire valve, air valve. And I screw that on the bottle like that. But now before I screw it all the way down, I mash the bottle a little bit, get some of the air out of it. And then I finish tightening this down. Now I got this here, which I can get a reading here showing how much I'm putting in there. I first give it just a little burst, and then I put it on there. That way I drive the air out of the line. And I hold it down on there like that and slightly push it. And you can feel it in the line going through. You can feel it going through the line. Now this has got an air valve thing, needle in it to where it won't let it out, and then you got to shake it. Here, the bottle's it's collapsing. It's getting smaller. The CO2 is mixing in with the water. Turn it upside down. See how it's collapsing? See how much has collapsed? So I'll put it back in here, and then I can take a screw or something and open this up. bottle goes back like it was. Now I'm going to squeeze the bottle once again. I like doing this twice to make sure it's got some carbonation in it. Kind of boost this here, pushing the air out of the lines. Slightly tap this. You see the needle going up. Okay, and you got to shake it again. That's the only way you can mix the carbon monoxide into the water to make sparkly water, which okay. Now once that's done, then you want to relieve the pressure off of it with a screw or something. You want to take this off. And I always just go ahead and put it back on here. It'll clip on there. That way you'll have it for next time. You'll know where it's at. And then I turn the bottle off up here. I turn this valve here off. And then I've got this other cap here. I've got a straw down through there. And it's got that where I can curve it here. And then I hot glued around up here. So now I can put this down in there. Now you got to hold it, keep that carbonation in there. If you don't put a top on there, your carbonate gas will escape out of there. And then once I do that, then I can put this little clip thing here on there to clip the top of it. See, I got some stuff in there. Some little piece of aluminum metal to pinch it off real good. Now it holds the carbon in there, and I can release this, and it's ready to drink. It makes it a lot easier having a straw, because when you drink it, you suck on it, it goes right down your esophagus, down your throat real easy. But yeah, let me give you a little walk around through the holder here. I just took some PVC pipe and I split it here to help hold the bottle. And I used some epoxy and glued it to another one of these. I made two of these, just alike, and I glued them together. Now the second one, it hugs this bottle right here. And this piece here is just loose, but anyhow, it is epoxied in here. That way this helps hold the bottle while I'm working with it. Now, this gauge will drop back down once the pressure's off of it, but this is how much was in the line. No, I'm sorry. This is how much is in the bottle. And this is this is set for right here for on the line. And I'm seeing 25 pounds of pressure is what I've got this set for. But as you can see, it's low, but I've been using this bottle here for about two months at least, and I really like it a lot. I like this type of water and everything. But that's the setup. The distiller's here, and the carbonated drink mixing area is right there, and everything's convenient. This is the easiest way, I think, of hooking this up. You know, this is for a tire. Yeah, it's never been used for a tire, but it's for a tire where you can air your tire up. Alright guys, tell them where you've seen it at. If you like it, like it. And if you want to stay in touch, subscribe. We'll stay in touch. I'll even go check out your channel. Talk to you later. Bye.